So in this section, we're going to move on talking about loans. We will still talk about loans and the calculations involved with them, but this is definitely more a decision-making process. We're going to be dealing with three different types of obtaining goods or services. Buying, which is pretty obvious what it is. Renting, again, pretty obvious. You pay somebody a certain amount per day, per week, and then you give the item back at the end. Or leasing. Now, a lease is basically renting, except there's a concrete time attached to it. If you travel to another city and you rent a car, you can put a time on it, or you can say, no, I'm just going to rent it and return it when I'm done. If you lease something, you sign a contract which states exactly how long you will keep the item, and then you have to give it back at the end of that. The most common type of lease that any of us come across is leasing an apartment. If you go away to school, you'll sign a lease for 8 months or a year on the place that you live, and then at the end you have to move out. So we're going to make some decisions based off of that. Sometimes it's pretty obvious which decision to make. Other times we need to go a little bit more in depth and analyze. So we need a new pencil. Question is, would you rent a pencil or would you buy a pencil? Well, most people would buy the pencil. I know you may not want to buy a pencil, you may want to borrow it from somebody else, but if your options are renting one or buying one, you would buy one. Because a pencil is consumable, it gets used up. To give it back in the condition that you got it would be impossible. You need a new computer. Would you rent it or buy it? Most people would choose to buy it. Now, depending on the amount of time you need the computer, maybe you only need it because you're going to 6 weeks of training at Sask Poly for the trade that you're in, and that's all you need it for. In that case, maybe you would rent it. But chances are you would buy it. You need a new car. Now we get into a little more gray areas. Depending on how long you need the car, if you need this new car just to move from one city to another, and then you don't need it anymore, you might rent it. If you need the new car because your old one is broke down and you need to get from point A to point B, you might buy it. So this one, I'm not going to circle one because there is no clear answer. It does depend on your needs. Last one, you need a place to live. And this is like I mentioned before, if you plan on settling down in this community for 5 years, 10 years, maybe more, it would probably be best to buy, so long as you can afford it. If you're going away to school for 2 years, you probably wouldn't want to buy a place. Although I know some people who would choose to buy the place for a number of different reasons. Again, not going to circle one because this one, both options are completely valid. They do depend on your individual circumstances. So while some people may choose to rent, others may choose to buy.